There is a place where gamers belong. Blasting through the sound waves. Lady Rage. Xander and Moe. Together, they are.
Good evening, everybody, and this is Team Rage.
And we're live.
Good evening, everybody. This is Lady Rage for Team Rage.
And I'm Moab from Team Rage.
I'm Varus from Team Rage.
And I'm Tyne Nutch from Game World Entertainment Network and Team Rage Show. With us tonight we have a very special guest. He is also a host on Game World Entertainment Network. But not just that, he is the logistics manager for wai-con and the anime convention in Australia. He also done work with other conventions. Mr. Mikesi, how you doing tonight?
Hello, Tyne. Good evening, everyone. How are we all?
Alive.
It's good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. If you guys don't know, it's his morning time or evening, and we were gonna plan on him being on earlier, or we were thinking he was gonna be on a day ago or something, and time zones got mixed up. Yeah, but we got him on tonight. That's all that matters. So, Go ahead.
Oh, I just said, yeah, I'm glad we got him on today, or tonight, I guess. Is today or tonight?
So, Michael, why don't you tell us what all conventions, because you already gave me a list of them, which ones were you involved in any way, shape, or form?
To begin with, I was on the committee for Genghis-Con. It's a little niche convention in Perth, Western Australia. We do panels, workshops, gaming, outdoor events like a combat lab. I started working with that convention in 2007 as the panels coordinator. And then in that same year, I also signed on to be a subcommittee with wai-con, which is Perth's premier anime convention, as the screenings coordinator. And I'm still working with wai-con. I've since left Genghis-Con after going all the way through to president for 2 years in a row. So I've been working extensively with those, and I've also done some programmed events with the longest running speculative fiction convention in the Southern Hemisphere, being SwanCon. It's been running consecutively since 1975, I think. I just do program items there. Basically, I'm a panelist. I just go and talk for an hour or so every now and again and do a few bits and pieces with them as well.
Now, on our flyer tonight, I have acquired some images of you off your Facebook about you doing cosplay as Doctor Who. I know you are a big fan of Doctor Who, as myself and many others are. What made you want to cosplay Doctor Who? I know you're no longer doing it, but what made you do it then?
I just have a real love of the series of Doctor Who, and also there's a concept that a lot of people have, which cosplay is a lot of anime-based cosplay and gaming-based cosplay, and I always wanted to push the point that it's not just that; it can be anything that you have a passion for as a fan that you can cosplay as, like the Doctor or a Star Wars character or something. So the Doctor's a relatively... I don't have much subbing experience, so let's just say the Doctor's one of the easier ones for me to do. I've done 2 incarnations of the Doctor, the 9th and the 10th. I haven't done the 11th yet, although I do have a fez.
Yeah, I noticed that in your picture here on Skype. But yeah, speaking of the Doctor, and in fact in the one image, which I am going to put up on screen once I get the game minimized, you're actually holding the sonic screwdriver.
Yes.
And what I want to know is, I don't know if you know this, but a few weeks ago on our um, show, we did a sci-fi meets um, fantasy, or no, science fiction meets reality. And we were talking about the sonic screwdriver and how scientists are working on making it real. And right now they have one that's working and stuff. Change frequencies. They got to screw nuts and bolts. They got it to move objects and stuff like that. But it's as long as a baseball bat and a big around as a vinyl record. And I know they're working on making it smaller and smaller to actually be the size of a screwdriver. And I want to know, if they do come out with that and it like goes for sale and stuff, are you gonna be the first one in line to buy it?
Well, it depends how much it costs, really, I suppose. But it would be a cool gadget to have around the house, wouldn't it?
For those of you guys interested, there is a picture of Mikesi holding his sonic screwdriver as the doctor. Oops.
But yeah, I do find it very awesome how science fiction shows like Star Trek or Doctor Who has influenced our technology in the real world, like automatically opening doors, for example, from Star Trek, or the flip communicator, or a sonic screwdriver, and they're even working on matter transporters and things like that. It's influencing our society and improving things and how we live our lives.
Yeah, that's very true. In fact, I think I'm gonna bug you until you agree to come on for our next sci-fi meets reality show.
Fair enough.
Which I do really want to thank you, because we've got ton of viewers that are like Doctor Who fans. We have cosplay models and stuff like that, and people that love going to the conventions, and they have no idea what's really behind the conventions, what it takes to put one together and stuff. And that's why I wanted to reach out to you, because I knew you did so much work with them, that you could give us insight on what goes on, what is the main roles, like what does it take to get one started, for instance, because I know you were part of one that had just been started, or even if it was just a few years ago, I think you were one of the first members to get one started.
I wasn't part of the founding of any conventions, but wai-con was still relatively young when I joined the staff there. And actually, the year I joined, we'd only just moved into the convention centre. wai-con, in fact, holds a very special place in Australian anime convention history, as it was the first anime convention in Australia to actually be held at a convention centre. And the first year that we were there was the first year I was on staff, and I have been part of helping in my own small roles, helping that establish itself in the convention centre to what it is today. We've now got over 4,000 attendants. I think we've got about 6,000 unique attendants over both days, because we count it one person over 2 days as one person, so
Yeah.
instead of two. Yeah.
So what exactly do you do at it, though?
Behind the scenes, or actually at the convention itself?
Behind the scenes, like getting it started and stuff, and then like when it actually starts up.
Well, in a typical year, the first thing we would need to do, obviously, because the committee is elected by the membership of the organisation. PANIC, it's called, Perth Anime Convention. And what we do then is we have our committee meetings, and firstly we have to decide when are we going to hold the convention. That's one of the most important things you need to do is, what dates do we want? That could prove difficult depending on the venue availability. Then we have to decide where we're holding it. I mean, we've pretty much been at the same venue for about the past 6 years. But, there's always, might be a new venue built, but we have to look at the venue theming, if we want to actually have a specific theme for the con. Like, I think one of the pictures you posted on the Facebook thing was wai-con Circuit, I think, from memory,
Yeah.
which was the one we just had. We've had steampunk, we've had spies, we've had space cadets, we've had angels and demons, sports, invasion. So we sometimes theme the event. We sort of have to brainstorm a theme. Then each department sort of does their thing. Like the president will talk to the venue and talk to insurance companies and help the secretary with the sponsorship kind of stuff. And the competitions coordinator has the cosplay subcommittee under them, for example, and they have to organise things for the convention. I, being logistics, pretty much have to organise everything logistical that we might need, like tables, chairs, just the nitty-gritty things, that the average attendee wouldn't think would need to be organised by a specific person. It just sort of happens, but there's a specific role for organising tables and chairs. The front desk needs to be set up. Cash registers need to be hired. FPOS machines need to be hired. Volunteers need to be wrangled, so to speak. And it's nearly a 12-month process to put a convention on of this size. As I said, SpawnCon's 2 years, but that's set up a bit differently to how we are.
Yeah, so you do a ton of work, just like I know everyone else on the committee does. And I know, was that one picture that was there, was that taken at the end where it had all the committee members standing up on the, I guess it'd be the main stage?
The picture at the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 10 of us from wai-con circuit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all 10. That's all 10 of the we're the board, the main committee.
Okay, yeah, because I was actually looking for one of those pictures where you were actually facing the camera, but I don't know if it's what's going on, but you always face away from the camera.
Probably just where the camera is positioned, I suppose, and depending how the photographers take the picture. Having done some photography as well, it's not always easy to photograph 10 people on stage all at once, because they're all looking in different directions, or one girl's looking the opposite way to me, and then one person's looking straight ahead, and Mike's got his microphone in his hand. So, but yeah, those are the people I worked with for the last wai-con we had, which was our biggest attendance ever. We cracked the 4,000 mark at that one, so that was pretty impressive.
Which, congrats on that. I know you got several more that you're planning on doing.
Well, we have got another one. We have got another convention in the works now, obviously for next year. It's actually our 10th next year, our 10th wai-con. So that's
congrats on making it that far.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you, guys. It's actually the baby convention's finally turning 10. GenghisCon's only about 2 years older than wai-con, but we had a gap year because when we first moved into the PCEC, the Perth Convention Exhibition Centre, we had our convention in December of 2007, and then because it's often hard to book a venue around Christmas time because workplaces are having functions, end of year functions, things like that, we decided to move the convention to the beginning of the year. But of course, you can't organise a convention in 2 months, so we had a gap year in 2008 where we didn't actually have a con technically, and then we started again in 2009 in the January. So, but yeah, this is our 10th. This is our 10th convention. It's going to be pretty impressive, I would hope.
Yeah, every year, from what I've read about the convention and what I've seen in videos and stuff, it seems like every year it gets bigger and bigger and better. And
well, it is a building process because the first few years the early guys were sort of just finding their feet. How can we actually run this thing, kind of thing. And then when we got to the convention centre, we got into the venue where we've got a lot more space than what we had, which allowed us the room for more growth. In fact, the wai-con circuit convention, we had one of the pavilions for the first time. It's big, massive, open space. We basically fill it with our event, and it went quite well for the first year that we were there. But a few years after we got to the convention centre, we started having guests, like anime voice actors, or we had a comedian who was our MC come as our guest one year, and we had Donna Burke from Japan. She's actually from Perth, but she lives over there, an expat, and she came over for our event, and we've slowly introduced more and more elements to it as we've grown, because we're a non-profit organisation, we don't have oodles of money we can just throw out there, so we sort of have to build it as the years go by.
yeah, and I know you guys are hoping that one of these years, have you sold out on tickets yet, or
Sorry, mate, I didn't quite catch that.
have you sold out on the tickets to enter the convention yet, or is that something you guys are hoping to do, like in upcoming years, actually meet that mark of selling out?
Well, we don't exactly sell out for the tickets because we put our tickets on sale. I mean, obviously, the more we sell, the better. Because we do also have, like most conventions, we have pre-registration. People can pre-register before the event. But in the event, that we sell lots and lots and lots of tickets and fill up our space at the convention centre, that in itself will give us the ability to go, okay, we want the next pavilion and expand ourselves further. So we can keep growing for quite a while. So
Now, are you hoping to fill up all the pavilions?
that would be that would be an achievement, because there are actually 6 there. But we have filled the theatre many times. The main theatre, which is the stage that you have that picture from, has a seating capacity of about 3,500 people, I think, and we've filled it for quite a few of our main cosplay events and different things over the past few years, and we've still got people around the other parts of the convention as well. So we've certainly filled the theatre to capacity.
That's just amazing in itself, getting that many people. I mean, I've worked at a nightclub where the main capacity is 9,000 and seen it filled to that, and it was like, holy crap. So I know how it's like a ton of people there, and it's an achievement. Like, yeah, I did that. I was part of that.
It is pretty awesome because with the it was these. Well, actually, it happened to me twice because the very first year we were at the PCEC, we had 1,700 people attend our event. The year before at the arena up in Joondalup, we had about 850. So I'd actually set up my screening rooms. I was the screening coordinator. So basically, that role was to organise the screening rooms that showed anime throughout the event. Basically, just put in a DVD, play an episode, change it over. I'd all done all my setup, and then I went downstairs to the green room where we could, the staff could relax for 5 minutes, get a drink or whatever. So I went and grabbed an orange juice or something like that. Came back upstairs, and as I came back up, I heard this murmur, and I thought, what's that noise? So I walked up to the front, out to our main entrance, and looked out, and the queue was all the way down to the escalators. And you guys obviously don't know the layout of the venue, but I was like, oh my goodness me. It was a long queue. But then the following was then, as I said before, we had that gap year. And then in 2009, our attendance went from 1,700 from the 2007 event to 3,190. And the same thing happened again. I walked out there and there was just people everywhere. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool. To see all these people just wanting to come into our event.
Okay, now let me look here. I think, Lay Rage, correct me if I'm wrong, but is Winterwolf on yet, or?
No.
Okay, so I just wanted to double check, because she was the Australian host that's supposed to be coming on, but she ain't on yet. She must be sleeping in. What else was there? I was going to ask you, before I do ask you any more questions, I want to go ahead and announce that we will be giving away a beta key during the show tonight, some point. For what game? It's a PC game, and it's an MMO, and it's in closed beta right now. I will not tell you any more than that until it comes time to give away the beta key, so you guys need to stay tuned in for that. Let's see here. Back to you, Michael.
And also make sure you hit that follow button.
Yes, you gotta hit that follow button in order to win the prize. Gonna say, and you guys, if you have not heard about it yet, marathongamers.org is doing a gaming marathon. Check them out after our show, and it's gonna be going all weekend long. They're raising money for Cancer Society of America, I believe. And now, any of you guys got any questions for Mikesi here?
Yes.
I can.
I was gonna say, you're a big fan of Doctor Who. Are you biased to one doctor or the other?
Ooh. Um, not overly, because it's like, well, I suppose to use another British institution, James Bond. Each actor does bring their own unique style to the series. I have seen all of the Doctors at some point. Obviously, didn't see the episodes predating my birth when they first got aired, but I have seen all 11 of the Doctors, and I'm certainly enjoying the reboot of the series. But the it's like the classic Star Trek series, I suppose, which is also turning 30 in a few years, 50 in a couple of years. You sort of have to take the classic series like William Hartnell through to Sylvester McCoy. For what it is. It was a TV show made in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, so of course the special effects aren't going to be as shiny. You know, the acting may not be necessarily as to what our standard is today, but I enjoy the different aspects each actor brought to the Doctor. Like the first Doctor was very, very formal, very regal kind of posh kind of Doctor, you know, because that was the acting that William Hartnell brought to the role. Then, of course, you had someone like Tom Baker, who did a lot more running around and a lot more physical stuff. And then you had Sylvester McCoy, who was more like a slapstick kind of Doctor. You know, he did a lot of hat twirling and comedy and things. And of course, you come into the new series, and you had the Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, who played his role very well because he was the survivor of the Time War. So he was very dark and very brooding and very, you know, a war survivor. And then, of course, he regenerated into David Tennant, and he was a lot more happier and a lot more, you know, smiling and wide eyes and, you know, kind of thing. And then Matt Smith is excellent in the role, despite his young age. As Matt Smith is the first Doctor to actually be born after me. I feel old now. The Doctor's now younger than me, almost. But Matt has brought a lot to the role as well. He sort of amalgamated a lot of the different Doctors, but brought his own style at the same time. So, don't have a favourite. I am enjoying the current Doctor, though, very much so.
You're lucky you didn't ask me.
Okay,
Actually,
who's your
I
favourite
see-
Doctor then?
David Tennant. And I've seen all of them too. I just like the way David Tennant pulled it off, and I like the comedy / seriousness, the way he pulled it. That, and he's Scottish, so
He he reminds me of the American actor, Robert Downey Jr. Because he's kind of out there. He's overgoing, and well, he doesn't really have the kind of I don't want to, for lack of a better word, the ass of himself, because Robert Downey Jr. does make an ass out of himself in almost every movie it is. But David Tennant is really good at what he does, and I see a lot of similarities between Matt Smith and David Tennant, because I think in reality Matt Smith actually takes, I think it's Matt Smith if I'm right, but I think he actually enjoys, or he looked up to David Tennant as the Doctor, so he tries to portray himself as being David Tennant as the Doctor.
And of course, Doctor Who is coming up to a very important milestone in only a few months. Its 50th anniversary special is coming up. Doctor Who will be 50 years toward the end of November, and there's something reasonably big in the pipeline, so involving more than one Doctor.
well, they did that in several of the movies where they brought in a lot of the older Doctors.
They did. They had in John Pertwee's era, they had the three Doctors. They brought back Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor, but William Hartnell, the first Doctor, was not of the best of health by that point, so they had him on sort of a view screen. And then they had the 20th anniversary, the five Doctors, the 20th anniversary special during Peter Davison's era, where sadly the first Doctor had passed, but they brought in Richard Hurdenal, who actually looked remarkably similar to the first Doctor. And then they had Doctors 2, 3, and 5, I'm sorry. Tom Baker did not actually want to participate in the event at the time, which he subsequently regretted. They used part of an unaired episode called Sharda, which actually never went to air, which I think may be available on DVD now, where they sort of just had a scene with him going through in a canoe with Romana, one of his companions, but Tom Baker didn't really have a big role in that. But that was the big five Doctor special, and then during Colin Baker's era, they had the two Doctors, where they brought back in Patrick Troughton and one of his more popular companions, Jamie, the Scottish boy, and they had him with Colin Baker's Doctor, the Sixth Doctor, and Perry, his companion. So they've had a few Doctor specials, but this is certainly, I don't know if it's going to be the biggest, but it's certainly going to be very good because they are bringing back one of the most popular Doctors, and of course the current Doctor.
So what do you think about the current companion?
Clara?
Yeah.
I think Jenna Louise Coleman's actually very, very good. Sorry about that. Very good as an actress. She's certainly come into the role very successfully, I think. It's obviously hard to follow up after popular companions like Amy and Rory, because they were quite popular. But I think, no, she's certainly made a mark on the series, and is certainly doing very well. From what I've seen, I've seen up to all except for the current episode, which I haven't watched yet, of course. But no, she is a good actress. She acts out all the scenes very, very well, and certainly is very very capable of being a companion of the Doctor.
Now, I know some people are fans of shows and stuff like that. Whenever the show has a spin-off, they hate the spin-off because it came from the original show. How do you feel about, like, Torchwood and all the other spin-offs that have been made so far?
If you include all the spin-offs of Doctor Who, then you also have to go back to the 80s when they had a very, very interesting spin-off, which only lasted for a pilot episode, called Canine and Company. It was basically Canine and Sarah Jane, played by the late Elizabeth Sladen. And it didn't make it past the pilot, but Torchwood, I actually enjoyed Torchwood. The show certainly got better as it went on. Certainly the third and the fourth seasons, which were the Children of Earth and Miracle Day, they were quite good. I think my favourite probably would be the Children of Earth 5-parter, I think it was in the end. But Torchwood was actually quite good. I found it a bit not going with continuality, that they kept killing off the cast an awful lot.
Yeah.
It was, they killed Susie, I think, in about the first episode. And then Owen, not Owen, can't think of their names now, that's terrible, isn't it? The only one they didn't end up killing off was Gwen Cooper. I mean, they killed Yanto, they killed Tosh, they killed the guy's name whom I can't remember for the life of me, and they killed Jack a million and one times, but he always comes back. But aside from killing off of the cast, the series was it was good.
I didn't like the ending. I'll just put it that way.
The ending of the actual main series, or the ending? Well, they didn't quite know if they were probably coming back at that point. Unfortunately, there won't be any new Torchwood, I don't think, now anyway. I think Russell T's basically put it on the shelf now because of personal reasons. But I've seen a little bit of the Sarah Jane Adventures. Obviously, they're more aimed at a younger audience, but I still enjoy what I have seen. Admittedly, I saw the very first episode, The Invasion of Bane, and I sort of, admittedly, have only really seen the content where it actually involves the Doctor. Like the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith when the 10th Doctor came in, and then there was, and Matt Smith was in it too at one point. He came into it, and they also brought back Joe Grant, a companion from the 3rd Doctor, played by Lee Shaw. So that wasn't too bad. I haven't seen the other Canine series. There was another Canine series aimed at children, which was actually partly an Australian production. I've got it on DVD, but I just never got around to watching it, so I can't comment too much on that one.
Because I think somewhere I read that it's like one of the most spin-off shows there is Doctor Who.
No, aside from Star Trek.
Yeah.
I mean, the original Star Trek, then you've got Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, an animated series, Enterprise. There's about 5 or 6 series, but yeah. And, Stargate had a couple, but yeah, Doctor Who's popular, so why not cash in on it, kind of thing. Make a few spin-offs. But I admittedly, a few years ago, I actually had a horse that I rescued from an unpleasant situation, and had him for about 18 months, and I actually named him Torchwood. I don't know why. I just did.
I was going
I
to
couldn't
ask, is
think
there
of
a
name
reason,
also.
or?
Well, in another case in point, another rescue animal as well. But the little dog I've got around here, I actually named her Amy. Because all my dogs have A names, have had A names, like I've had Astro and Annie, and I couldn't think of one. I thought, what could I name this dog? And then I thought, Amy, who at the time, of course, was played by Karen Gillan, the Doctor Who companion at that point in time. Then I thought, well, Amelia is a bit too long for a dog, because dogs short names, like Rex or Fido. So, Amy. So yes, I named my dog after a Doctor Who companion.
I was waiting for you to say you named your dog K9.
She's female. K9 technically doesn't have a gender, but John Leeson provides the voice, so he's a male voice.
Yeah, and I still like the fact, is that the K9 that's in the picture with you, is that like a prop you found somewhere, or is that something you made, or?
So I'll just... the K9 that's next to me when I'm the doctor,
Yeah.
that is homemade. That was made out of... It's got a styrofoam frame base, and it's actually newspaper printing plates for its metal body. And it's got a little remote control car in it, so it can sort of just drive around on his own. It's actually a long time work in progress. I'm actually going to be taking him up to the... we've got a place up in Osborne Park called the Artifactory, and there's a whole pile of wizards up there who do like electronics and bits and pieces, and I'm actually going to completely rebuild a new K9 to look much better and actually be controlled by my laptop. So it'll be very cool when he's done. It'll be cool when he's done. I'll definitely have to do some photos with him when he's done, but yeah.
Are you going to have him do the voice and stuff too?
I think there was talk of that as well. I actually put a few sound recordings in there as well. That K9 in the photo, though, was actually only built in a couple of weeks, so that wasn't too bad for a throw together. That was actually for one of the Gamers-Gons.
Now, why did you stop doing your cosplays?
Just a lot of the people that I cosplayed with, a couple of them moved interstate. Other people just went on to other projects, and I do it occasionally. Excuse me. I normally just do it at a convention nowadays, because a lot of the time we were doing quite regular shoots, and it was becoming quite intense. And for me, it's more of just a hobby. If I just feel like chucking on a costume and doing that. The photo on the left with the K9 was actually a part of a photo shoot for a cosplay calendar that I did a few years ago. So I was actually in the cosplay calendar. That was the last major actual shoot that I did. I normally, most of the time now, spend time behind the camera taking photos of other cosplayers. So, because I do quite a bit of photography work as well, so...
Yeah, and I noticed that you got a ton of photos of you in your, I guess you call it a uniform, for the cons and stuff like that. I noticed, do you have to actually be in like a uniform, or I know you have to have your name badge when you go to the conventions, but...
Well, obviously we do have our con passes, which is a matter of quick identification, especially in a venue like more so the convention centre, and also with SwanCon, which is normally held at a hotel, because there might be other hotel patrons around. So when I'm saying yes, that's a con person, no, that's not. Why are they here? Kind of thing. With the conventions that I've been on committee for, we do generally have a staff shirt as a way of mainly being recognisable should someone require an assistance or have a question. They can say, that's a member of committee, I'll ask them. So it's a way of acknowledging, as you probably saw in the photo of the board on stage, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's about 8 of us in our shirts. So
yeah, I noticed the one's cosplaying. I forget the name of the thing she's cosplaying, but I thought that was funny. I was like, really? Board member in cosplay? That just makes it even more epic.
Yeah, some of us are cosplayers. Not as many this time round. admittedly, but we do attempt to minimise that during. I mean, that photo was taken closing ceremony on the Sunday evening of the convention. It was only runs for 2 days, that one. And naturally, of course, the actual main event's finished, so technically there's no need to really be in the shirt anymore, but it's just easier. Just keep it on, save carrying an extra pair of clothes. But you know what cosplayers are like. They want to get into a as often as they want to.
That is true. Now I know you've done Doctor. I'm going to talk a little bit longer this time because I want you to. You've been talking a lot, and I want you to make sure you get a drink or something before you go frog on us. You've done the Doctor. You've done many other cosplay roles. Is there something that you are wanting to cosplay that you have not had the chance to, or just have not done it yet?
Yes, actually, there is a few. Well, I say a few years ago, probably nearly almost a decade now, I suppose. A friend and I came up with an idea. I don't know if you're familiar with the science fiction series Babylon 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We came up with an idea of putting together a Kosh costume. The Vorlon costume, basically. And we only just started the project, and for whatever reason we sort of shelved it and it never happened. But I still would like to one day go and actually dress up as a Vorlon, because it's because the costume's reasonably bulky. It'd be good to learn a different technique, because the actors in the series, or the actor in the series who wore the costume, had to learn a special technique of walking, because naturally when you walk normally, your weight sort of sways as you walk, and of course with the costume you can't do that. So he learned a technique of walking in a certain method, so he didn't take big long steps, but he had to keep a flow going. So it looks like the Vorlon floated, so it'd be pretty cool to actually develop that skill as well. But yeah, certainly Kosh from Babylon 5 is certainly one of the costumes that I've never got off the ground that I would actually like to do at some. But it is a very intricate costume and very big, so it'd take a while to do it, I suppose. But it'd be cool still to pull it off. Other than that, I mean, to be honest, I've never really cosplayed anything from Guild Wars, which could be cool.
Yeah, I mean, you play Guild Wars, Guild Wars 2. People don't know, but your name there is Sienna de la. What else? What other names do you got? I forget all of them.
In Guild Wars 2,
Yes.
let me see. I'm conveniently now back on the character selection screen. We've got Sienna, of course. I've got my guardian is Rachel. I've got a character I sort of put a bit of a reference in, because the Norn species in Guild Wars 2 are sort of based on Norse mythology, and I created a thief for my Norn. So I created the name Lokina, Lokina, which I included Loki in there, which of course is the Norse thief reference god or whatever. So I sort of put that into the character name as well. Funnily enough, Sienna's the only actual name from Guild Wars 1 I've actually carried over into Guild Wars 2. They reserved our character names for us. I only picked Sienna's name to really carry through, which is my main character. So
That would make sense. I mean, that's
I've
like
also
I
got-
carried Tyne over, and I think I carried over Delosis Vulpes, but I think that was it, and all the rest of the names are just brand new names.
Yeah, all of mine are brand new names, with the exclusion of C's. So it's but they all still carry the same DeLong at the end of the name, so it's easily to recognise me in game if need be, especially with the work with Gwen, because people need to be able to get hold of you for requests and giveaways and things. So it's easy. Oh, there he is. He's on that character today.
Yeah.
So
And other than Guild Wars 2, I know you're a gamer at heart. What other games do you play?
my main alternative game at the moment is, naturally falls back to science fiction, is Star Trek Online. I haven't played it a great deal lately, but I play that occasionally in between Guild Wars 2, in case I sort of go, okay, I'll give Guild Wars 2 a bit of a rest for a little while. So I actually created, because one thing about gaming I like is story-driven things, and things like that. I love a good story in anything, like a TV series or a game. So I actually created a character in Star Trek Online with a bit of a backstory and created a bit of a bio for her in the game. I actually created. You have the option to create an alien. Naturally, you've got your the Federation. You've got your humans, your Vulcans, your Tellarites, your Andorians, etc., etc. But I actually went to alien and actually created my own alien. Well, not my own alien. She's actually an Orion, but I actually created her and put her in the Federation as opposed to the Orions, which created a nice little backstory. But I like games with stories. One of my favourite games of all time that I've played is a title called The Longest Journey. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it was from the late 90s, actually. It was a very story-driven game. There was actually no combat in it whatsoever. It was one of those adventure games. And it was a very excellent game. I thoroughly enjoyed that game.
Yeah, I actually got The Longest Journey and Dreamfall, and recently gave a copy of those to Lady Rage herself, just to, when I was getting her used to Steam, just to give her a game on there. Have you tried the new Neverwinter that's out?
Oh, no, I wasn't even aware there was one. When did that hit the market?
It's free to play last month, and it is actually extremely fun. You can create a BIOS for your character. I forget how many characters, but it can be fairly long. Not just that, but there's dungeons that the game creators put in and stuff, but you as a player can also create dungeons and quest line and stories and put in for other players.
Oh, that does sound... is that along the same lines of Neverwinter Nights, or is it something different entirely?
It's Dungeons and Dragons Neverwinter, so it's not the same series. It's
but it is still based in D&D, which Neverwinter Nights was.
Yeah, and
because that was based on 3rd Ed, I think, from memory, or 3.5. So
yeah, it's free to play. I'll have to hook you up with the link after the show or sometime later in the show. It's really fun. I've been playing it. I've got several dungeons and quest lines already wrote up for people. And there's some people they got too damn much time on their hands because there's a quest in there that someone created. And if you think about it, when you create a quest, it's going to take you longer to create it than it does to actually do. And this guy's quest line is 930 something hours long to complete it.
That is a very long time. I do know in Neverwinter Nights, I tend to buy the game guides for certain titles, and they actually had the World Builders Guide. You can actually create modules for Neverwinter Nights as well. So, being a RPG as I am, it was good to create a few different worlds in there as well.
I'll put the link to Neverwinter in the Skype chat.
Okay, thank you. So, viewers out there, I know you guys were asking questions about conventions and stuff the other night. Any of you guys got any questions for Mikesi here? But I know we've already covered quite a bit. I know Mikesi's probably out of breath, but give him a few seconds because it's some delay in the stream.
I don't know if you covered it already, but have you been a part of or hosted any overseas conventions? Anything out of Australia?
No, I can't say I have. I've attended a couple of interstate ones, but I've never been organising any international ones. Although there is talk that the wai-con, as it's commonly called, the World Science Fiction Convention, there might be a bid for Perth to host that in about 7 or so years. So it might be an interesting opportunity. It has been to Melbourne four times since the 1970s, so it travels around the world to different places. In fact, Liechtenstein actually bid it for it once. That didn't succeed. Melbourne got that one. That was in 2010, but it's been to America, Japan, Canada, Britain, over here. It's been all over the place, so it certainly could be an interesting opportunity to be part of an organising committee for a world convention. But I don't know if I would. Depends how I go.
Now, is there any countries that you would like to go to do a convention?
To organise or to actually just attend?
Oh.
Well, there is always that Doctor Who one in America, I think it is, isn't it?
Well, there's a Doctor Who one in America, and there's also one in Europe somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but I know there's one over in Europe.
I think it's Gallifrey 21 or something like that. It's I mean, you go to these conventions, even just as an attendee, and it's a pretty cool experience. I mean, I'm not really big on the big star names. Like, I mean, we had a couple of months ago we had an event over here in Perth, and they actually had William Shatner and Richard Dean Anderson as guests, and I'm like, okay, it's Richard Dean Anderson, William Shatner. Okay, I mean, it would have probably been nice to meet them. I was actually volunteering at the time, but you know, the stars don't overly interest me. It has to be someone of specific interest for me to go and actually want to. Like last year, speaking of interstate ones, I actually had the opportunity to meet Felicia Day, who actually, of course, provided the voice for Zoja in Guild Wars 2, and that was pretty cool. Just had a print of Zoja with her golem, and my guild leader and I got those signed, and it was nice meeting her. But you know, it has to be someone I actually have an interest in. I won't just get an autograph for the sake of getting an autograph, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. If you ever get the chance to meet Steve Blum, you got to meet him and talk to him. He does so many different voice acting work for animes and for Guild Wars 2. He did the voice
Ritlock.
for Ritlock.
Mm.
So yeah, he's so cool about it. You can go up and ask him, hey, can you do the voice for this character? And he'll do it right there on the spot for you. He'll sign your autographs. I have several autographs of his. He'll even, like, if you want to do a recording of him doing the voice, he'll do it for you.
That sounds cool.
Still waiting to see if any viewers want any questions. I don't know if they heard me ask, but any of you guys, anyone at all? I know we got an hour of the show left, but I don't know if you can stay the whole time, Michael. I didn't get to ask you, but if you can, you're more than welcome to. And you're more than welcome to come back anytime if you want to do an update for the wai-con, if it's going on or coming up. By all means, feel free to get a hold of us, get back on.
That's very kind. Thank you very much.
Speaking of the wai-con, this year's was the circuit. Have you guys planned what next year's, I guess 2014's is going to be yet?
We haven't exactly chosen a theme for the 2014 event because it's sort of just really our anniversary, and we sort of just want to basically have a celebration of the event itself over the past 10 conventions. So we haven't actually officially done our main launch of our marketing yet. That's coming up in a few weeks at Supernova, which is a pop culture expo that will be in town. But we might do a theming. We don't know yet. We're sort of deciding if we really want to, because we really pushed the circuit theme over the past 12 months with the last event we did. So we might just sort of go back to basics, because it is the 10th con. So go back to, just this is wai-con, this is what we are, and just have basic stuff as opposed to going through a whole raft of theming, and actually have a theme, because we've had a theme pretty much every year, ranging, as I said, from everything from steampunk to angels and demons and different bits and pieces. So we might just leave it as wai-con 2014 and just have a big party, as it is our 10th con.
That sounds good. Has there ever been a suggestion for a I guess you'd say a theme that you were like, oh no way in hell are we gonna do this one?
Funnily enough, last year, as we've already mentioned, the 2013 con was wai-con Circuit. Originally, the theme for that was wai-con Circle, as in a round thing, circle, and pardon me, that got changed to Circuit because it's much easier to promote and sounds a bit better anyway. So But one that actually did go through was sport. We actually had wai-con sports in 2011, and I'm like, why is it sports? But it's what people wanted, so keep the crowd happy, I suppose.
Okay, here's one. Guys23 wants to know, what was the show that made you say, yes, cosplay Doctor Who? And do you do all of the Doctor Who's or just the one?
To be honest, well, I cosplayed the Ninth Doctor when he was around. Actually, did I? Yes, I did. And then I've obviously cosplayed the 10th Doctor. I actually had the brown long coat actually made by a seamstress who I know, who actually made it to my specifications. I haven't done all the Doctors. I've actually only done those two. Admittedly, I'm probably a bit young to do the first three because they were quite old when they had the role. So I guess if I'm still cosplaying in, say, 30 years' time, I might pop in and do... My hair might be white by then, I might be able to do the first Doctor or something like that.
Gives you plenty of time to get the outfit together.
It does, yes. I do have a pocket watch though, which my fiance gave me, so I've got one of those. But yeah, I haven't done all the Doctors. No, whether I do or not, I don't know. It depends how I go. But of course, there is only a limited number of Doctors, regenerations. So eventually they'll all be regenerated, and we'll know what they will look like.
Okay, so you already answered Guys23's next question, which was, is he married?
September 28th, I will be.
Which, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I have a question. Am I invited?
The plane flight might be a bit expensive.
I don't know. But Gwen staff may be invited. Who knows?
But going back to that though, if I may for a moment, because my fiance and I are both Doctor Who fans. She's been a Doctor Who fan since, well, the 1970s. She actually used to correspond with Colin Baker, the Sixth Doctor. She actually had his personal PO box address and would actually send telegrams to him and back and forth, and he'd actually reply. She's a Doctor Who crazy person as well, like me. But we're actually having a Doctor Who themed reception at our wedding. We're actually going to have it themed as around Doctor Who, not the wedding itself, just the reception, which sort of reflects the fandom that we're in.
That is cool.
So there'll probably be like little Daleks on all the tables or something, or.
And you need to have your canine finished by then, so it can be the ring bearer.
Just drives up neat. Here is your ring.
That would be awesome. So, any other questions for him, guys? I could ask him questions all night, but that's because I pretty much know... I know most of the answers, because I've known him for so long and worked with him.
It has been a while.
Well, I've been with Gwen now, and you were with Gwen before I was, and I've been with Gwen almost 2 years now.
Yeah, I'm coming into my third at the end of... in November, actually. I'll be celebrating my third. Actually, funnily enough, nearly around the same time as Doctor Who hits its 50th anniversary. Middle of November, I think it was for me.
Yeah, I joined in November 4th of year before last, so I'll be hitting my second year November 4th. And the only reason I remember that is because my first show was on my birthday.
Oh, okay. And probably followed one of my shows.
Actually, no, because at that time, when I first started with Gwen, I was working the night shift. And I actually preferred that, but when I got my kids back and stuff, I had to switch.
I mean, it fits in perfectly with my scheduling because, it's in my evening, so I've already been to come home. had dinner or whatever else, and then I just do my show and go to bed. So, where I am in the program is quite good. But I've always been a music geek. I actually used to do some volunteer work at a community radio station when I was in high school. That's what got me started. So, and then all this time later, I'm still doing it. So,
Yeah, and I mean, because I know you do a lot of volunteer work. What all do you volunteer for?
well, to start with, wai-con, because that's all voluntary based. We just give of our own time and do the work. As I said earlier, we're all elected. The board are all elected every year, so that's volunteer work. So was Genghis-Con, obviously, in the same vein. Supernova I volunteer for, got into that through wai-con. So I volunteer there, that's coming up as well. But, yeah, and of course working with the Gaming World Entertainment Network. So there's a bit going on.
About like me. Now, I'm going to let you answer this one because I honestly can't remember how many years Doctor Who's been going on for, and I'm pretty sure you know better than I do anyways. How long has it been going on for? Because someone in chat was just asking. Upset White Wolf.
Doctor Who started in 1963. It actually, the funny thing is, it actually started the day that President Kennedy was assassinated. That's why the Doctor Who premiere was delayed slightly. But 1963 it started. Pardon me, please. Specifically November 23rd. In Britain, of course. And then it finished in '89 when it was initially. The BBC initially didn't even want the program. To tell you the truth, they gave them very little budget, very small set to work with, and they didn't actually want the show because they didn't see it viable. And of course, these things always prove things to be wrong. But yeah, the series came to the first run of the Doctor Who after the seventh Doctor, my mistake, was September of '89. It finished, and that was it. And then of course the TV movie came out, which was sort of almost a pilot, but it wasn't. That came out in '96. That had the Eighth Doctor and had Eric Roberts, I believe he's an American actor, as the Master. And then that never took off, and then the BBC couldn't do anything for a while because obviously they worked with an American company somewhere, and they had to wait for those copyrights or those rights to expire, then revert back to the BBC before they could make any more themselves. So the revised series, the restart of the series came in 2005, and it's been running since then to now, of course. And the new series will actually be in its 8th season next year already.
Yeah, it's been on forever, it seems like, and it seems like it will continue to go on forever.
But the Doctor Who is the episode that we had last week. I believe it was last week. Was the 100th episode of the new series since 2005, and I believe that they're nearly at 800 episodes in total. I'm just trying to confirm that for you. But I think the Christmas special this year, if my calculation from my memory, because we've got the 50th anniversary special coming up next. We've had... so they'll be hitting 800 episodes very, very soon of Doctor Who. Which is quite amazing.
Yeah, I think because it's one of the longest running shows. I know, other than that, the BBC has the other longest running show, which is Last of the Summer Wine.
That's
which
right.
It's been going on for non-stop for ages.
Yeah, Doctor Who currently has 797 episodes. So, I think if they've included the one that was screened this morning, I don't know if they have or not. Then the first episode of the new season next year should be the 800 episode. 106 of those, of course, are missing. So, unfortunately, due to the BBC's junking policy back in the old days. They threw out Doctor Who.
And hello, Dr. Stone. Welcome back. And yes, Doctor Who rocks. It's too bad you missed the first part of the show. You can rewatch it. Let's see here. I want to make sure I'm giving you plenty of time to rest your voice, because I know you go back on air tomorrow. Well, later tonight with Gwen.
No, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
My next show is not till Monday.
That's right.
My time. So it'll be Monday morning, your time. Time zones are confusing.
Yes, just a little slightly. So, let's see here. Something else I was going to ask you, and I done forgot. Anyone else, feel free to ask questions while I'm trying to think of some.
See, there's that old age kicking in for you.
Yeah, my old age is really kicking in now. You got any later age you want to ask?
Yes, I do. Excuse me. It's about you and Gwen. Is that okay?
Yeah, I've got no problem with that.
How long have you been with Gwen?
I believe I actually did work this out a little while ago. I think my first show, as I said, was the middle of November. I'm just whoops, I just broke something. I'm pretty sure it was about maybe the 15th to the 17th of November 2010. Was my first program.
What got you involved in Gwen? How did you come about? And have any of the fundraisings with them?
Actually, it was through one of those. It was obviously we were still in pardon me, still in Guild Wars 1 at the time, and I happened to pass through Lion's Arch, which is a place in Guild Wars land, and there was just this huge party going on. I had no idea what it was at the time. It turned out to be the Pink Day in LA, the fundraising event that Gamers Giving Back in association with Gwen have for the breast cancer awareness that they do. And yeah, I just happened to pop in, stayed there for a little while, and later on looked up who Gwen were and saw that they were looking for volunteers for various bits and pieces, including on-air hosts. And so I put my hand up, and yeah, I'm still there.
And when you're with Gwen, is it just Guilds of War that you're playing, or do you play other ones? And is it easy for people to go and find you to request the music?
Yeah. What I've actually done is I know I'm normally Guild Wars based. I do, as I said earlier, do play a bit of Star Trek Online, but I've also set up a Facebook page for my program, because I do have a number of listeners who are actually friends of mine who don't play the game at all, but they do listen to the show, so that's a way for them to contact me. I also do have a Twitter as well, for them to contact me and actually place requests, or vote on the countdown, which I'll be starting up very soon. I do a countdown every year, so I'll be voting on that soon as well. And the Facebook is used to communicate with non-Guild Wars people.
Alright, so I know you recently changed your Facebook page. It's no longer Up From Down Under one. It's, I had it. I can't find it.
The show is still the same. It's still Up From Down Under. I'll send you the link in Skype if you just give me a moment. It's still the same show, but I've just switched from a group to a page. So I've kept the same. I'm just waiting for the computer to catch up with thinking. There it is.
Yeah, because I want to make sure I put that out there for all of our viewers so they can join it, and that way if they got requests or anything and you're on air.
I've just sent it through the Skype chat for you, mate.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and put it in our Twitch chat so that people can see it and follow it.
You want me to do that for you?
I got it. I also am going to put in our Gwen website. Actually, no, the Gwen website's down below. Our video Game World Entertainment Network is Gwen. For those of you who don't know, me and Mikesi both work for them, and he is on. I'm gonna go by Eastern time zone. It's easier for me.
Well, that's your time zone.
Yeah. Eastern time. He's on 7 a.m., 10 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday mornings. And
That is correct, yes, mate.
and I am on right after him Monday, and I'm on Thursday and Friday, 10 to 1 p.m. So if you guys tune in during that time, you know how to get a hold of me already, and now you know how to get a hold of him to make requests for any songs that you want to hear. And we also do like we pretty much will play anything you request as long as you keep it somewhat clean.
Yeah, yeah, I do. As a matter of standard end principle, I do generally try to keep the show at we have over here a PG parental guidance level, so nothing over the top because I actually do have younger people listening from time to time, and of course you never know when they're listening, so you don't want to offend the parents. So I do try to keep the show at a comfortable level for everybody.
Um, Plus, I want to go ahead and let you guys know this. Mikesi, if you guys listen to any radio station or anything, he is gonna. If you listen to Gwen, he's gonna be one of the best DJs you ever hear. And I'm not just saying that because I'm his friend and I know him, stuff like that. I tune into his shows every morning while I'm getting my kids on the bus, stuff like that. And I like the fact that he makes the show itself into a game. Not many DJs will do that. He does, and it's always fun. Mixes it up like certain years for a show, or one of the shows will be a certain year. Others will be multi-letter shows. Can't remember all of them, but he does a lot. So you guys make sure you check out his shows. They are great.
Thank you. Yes, I do try to vary the show content a little bit, which you'd always. It's like a live. It's like a dynamic thing in itself. It just it you know every Tuesday I try and do something themed for a little while or change it every now and again. So it keeps things interesting for not only myself but also for our listeners as well.
What is your favorite music? I know you play for um the followers that you have, but you personally, what is your favorite?
Well, admittedly, having been born in the very late part of the 1970s, 1979 specifically, I am a bit of an 80s music tragic. I do like my 80s music, but a lot of the new stuff I'm enjoying as well, like of Monsters and Men, coming more to Australia. We've got a New Zealand artist who was actually part of that song "Somebody That I Used to Know" by Gautier. He's also from Australia. Kimbra, she does some good work. But I still like the old classics like U2 or probably my favourite band would be Genesis. I'm a big Phil Collins fan, admittedly. But I do like a lot of different music. But I lean more towards 80s. Admittedly, I do like them. Naturally, we like what we grew up with as young people, I suppose. Especially at the roller skating rink. I was never very good at roller skating, mind you. Listening to the music was fine, but yeah. But Genesis is certainly one of my all-time favourite bands, without question. But I do like the music from games and movies as well. Some of the soundtracks I have for some games are quite spectacular.
If you like gaming music, then you're gonna love the music that we have at the end of the song. It's called Game Over.
It's done by Sky Blue. He's a how is he's a was it nerd rap or how does he put it?
Yeah, he calls himself a nerd rapper.
A nerd rapper, okay. But speaking of which, there is one artist, undoubtedly, some of your listeners and yourselves might be familiar with. She's actually done some cool work, including a Zelda melody. Was Lindsay Sterling on the violin?
Oh yes.
She's sorry, I had to cut in here, but she's also in a video on YouTube made by Freddie W. It's on his channel where she actually plays as Link and she just breaks a bunch of pots in a room, but it's a really good video.
that's awesome. I did actually see last night, as I was doing some research on some music, that her and a couple of other people actually did a version of that party rock anthem song, and she's actually shuffling while actually playing the violin, which I think's pretty cool. Pretty cool for someone to be able to pull that off. But she does some good music as well. So there is a lot of variety in there.
Yeah, and I mean, we as DJs for Gwen, we play some of everything, and even stuff we don't like. Sometimes we have to put it on air, but we will play it. So,
I mean, I sometimes even just have a block of geek music because I'm a geek at heart, you know. So I'll play like maybe some Jonathan Coulton or something, or Star Trek or things like that, you know, geeky type stuff. Because inevitably there's some geek in most of us, so we'll enjoy that as well. But yeah, I'll play pretty much most anything.
Jonathan Coulton is good times. Good times.
He's quite funny. Some of his songs I do enjoy. I mean, how many other people can possibly make a song about a furniture store?
which
IKEA.
If I remember right, you work for a furniture company?
No, I work in a timber yard.
Well, same thing.
Okay.
Sort of.
Well, the timber gets turned into furniture, so same thing.
Or other things that it's useful, yes, but same thing, yeah.
Let's see here. I'm looking to see if anyone else has any questions. Dr. Stone, since you come in, do you have any questions for him? It can be about it can be pretty much anything. I'm sure, Mikes, you don't mind answering pretty much any question.
I'm sorry, we do have shy followers sometimes.
I have a question, mostly due with the recent string of video games coming out. But what's your take on the horror of zombie games and zombie movies? Basically, anything zombies coming out.
There does seem to be an awful lot of it coming out. Movies, especially. I saw. I went to the trailer park panel at SwanCon back in April, and there was naturally, of course, there was Man of Steel and Into Darkness, Star Trek Into Darkness, and things like that. But there was an awful lot of. Suddenly, we just seem to be inundated with zombie movies. I suddenly feel like listening to Read Your Brains by Jonathan Coulton or something, but no, it just seems to be a bit of a market saturation at the moment. It seems to be a bit of, mind you, a few years ago, of course, we had vampires. It just seems to go through a cycle.
Well, the reason why I say that is because I just recently got Dead Island Riptide, and I enjoy the game, despite its numerous amount of glitches that Deep Silver seems to ignore. But the game in general is pretty good. And plus we got Call of Duty, which was their popular Nazi zombies, and kind of Sniper Elite V2, kind of borrowing the idea for their Nazi zombies, which kind of it's more of a Left 4 Dead-ish type gameplay than the Call of Duty type gameplay that everyone was used to. The reason why I got on zombies because you said Jonathan Coulton, and of course made me remember Read Your Brains and the fact that it's on the jukebox in Left 4 Dead 2.
Yes, it is on that jukebox, isn't it? Yeah. good little reference, isn't there?
Alright, Dr. Stone wants to know, he's interested in if there are any great differences between the cons in the US versus cons in Australia.
I don't know a great deal about the cons over there. We do have a variety of conventions. As I said, Genghis Con is, gaming and both board gaming and consoles. We also have console gaming at Genghis Con as well. And panels and workshops, and you can do crafty things, and you can make stuff and make plushie toys or whatever, or jewelry. wai-con's, there's panels and workshops as well, but there's also the big cosplay competition. There's traders, and a lot of cosplay going around. And SwanCon in a way is similar to Genghis-Con, except it's less of the hands-on making stuff, more of the intellectual discussion kind of aspect. But it's also got the Masquerade Ball, which I've partially DJ'd once. I have done some live DJ work as well. The Masquerade Ball, everyone pretty much dresses up, and we've actually had some pretty cool costumes. There was one year there was a Jafar from Stargate SG-1 with the little head on the Horus Guard actually moved, which I had to take a second look at. I thought, that's actually moving. That's pretty cool. And they had a full-size staff weapon and everything. So that was quite cool. So I do know there are a lot of conventions over in the States, but I'm not overly familiar with what they are. I do know there's like Comic-Con over there. That's huge. And I think there's even something as Yowie-Con over there as well, and other conventions. But pretty much every place in Australia, pretty much with the exception of probably the Northern Territory, has some kind of anime convention going on at some point, and various other conventions as well.
All right, before I ask you the next Dr. Stone question, I'm going to go ahead and let Dr. Stone, the main difference that you'll find between the US and the Australian one is the US ones, you will almost never hear anyone call each other mate, unlike Australia.
I was gonna say that you can actually everyone speaks with American accent, so I can actually understand them.
Yeah, well, some of us say mate a bit, but others don't. It depends how you're brought up, I suppose. But there is a lot of public image of how we do speak here in Australia. Some of which is true, some of which I occasionally catch myself saying "g'day" or something to someone. But having been brought up with more of a traditional English type family, I'm generally more formal in my use of speech than the typical Ocker Australian, if you will call it that.
And just so everyone knows, no, he is true Australian. He's not a Kiwi, so I'll leave it at that.
No, I'm not a New Zealander. No, definitely from Australia.
Dr. Stone wants to know, how do you handle nudity / skimpy outfits in Australia? I guess he's talking about like the cosplay models and the different style that they dress up as.
Yes, that's certainly an interesting question. Thank you for that, and also an interesting issue, because we have we do occasionally get those who will dress up as minimal as possible. Of course, you have to have certain dress standards with these things, but we do at wai-con try to keep things at a parental guidance type level, and we have to try and make sure that the costumes are suited to that. But it's just a matter of just trying to keep things in check as best as possible. Of course, you've got a crowd of over 4,000 people there. It's hard to keep your eye on everybody, but you do what you can. You have guidelines, of course, in place, and you just have to try and keep those guidelines adhered to as best as you can. I mean, inevitably, someone's going to try to dress up as something that may not be appropriate, and you sort of have to, advise them to perhaps put a jacket on, or cover themselves up in some capacity to for the integrity of the event. Because ultimately, while each fan is important, we have to think of the event as a whole, and also the public image of the event, and the patrons have to feel comfortable with being there, and seeing certain persons who may not be dressed appropriately may make them uncomfortable, and we have to consider their needs as well.
Yeah, no Witchblade cosplay in Australia.
Well, I'm sure you can. You just gotta make sure you cover the nips.
No, I doubt you see it. Go look it up. Witchblade the anime. It's the most revealing outfit I've ever seen. I've even ever seen ever.
You probably have never seen Lady Death then.
Yeah.
Can I take a little time here so I can do some shout outs? Because we have a lot of pages that showed us tonight besides just mine.
Yeah, go ahead, do the shout outs.
Okay, the beginning song that you heard was from VDUF. He is the creator of our song. He specially made it just for us. Hardcore and Gamer Girls, Ramsha, The Ramsha, Hardcore Pornography, Elite Gamers, Gamers-Geeks-Radio, Ladies Venom Lair, Whips, Chains, and Video Games. This company sponsors us in the way that they spread the word about us a lot, besides Gwen, and it's Transpire Magazines. Love for Gaming, Gamer Chicks Are Us, Geeking It Out, Honor for Assassin Killers, Mario's Love Child, Team Rage Clan Page, Living Legends Comic, Team Rage Anime Page, Bugsy Smith Gaming, Gamebook 2000, Nate's Gaming Corner, I Fucking Love Video Games, Han Solo Cup, The Casual Gamer, Elite Skilled Gamers, Gamer 21 7, and the song you will be hearing from listening to at the end. Yeah, let's put it that way. Tyne already mentioned him, is from Sky Blue, and it's Game Over. And of course, there's Gwen, who you can find underneath the video screen. It's called Gaming World Entertainment Network.
Okay, real quick, since Michael has to be leaving soon, I think what we're gonna do is that everyone they rage, or you got more?
No, I am done.
Okay. Right quick, I am going to pull up the roll the die thing, and what I'm going to do is we announced that we were going to do a beta key giveaway, and we did not announce what game it was for. The game this is for is called Dragon's Prophet.
Hmm.
And it's brand new, closed beta. I can't tell you anything else because I signed the NDA. But what I'm going to do is give away the beta key now. It is a MMO. It's pretty fun. It's your standard type MMO, hack and slash, kill 10 rats. But it's fun. You get to tame dragons and ride them around as mounts and flying mounts and all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this giveaway. And it's I see that White Wolf had a question about okay, he already answered that question, but I don't know if he'd mind answering again. What made you want to roleplay Doctor Who
No, cosplay.
or cosplay? Yeah.
There is a Doctor Who RPG out there, but I haven't actually played it. Specifically role playing the Doctor, because it is a very interesting character. Aside the fact that he's a 1200-year-old Time Lord. I just like the different outfits he also does, where they're very varied. I mean, one Doctor had a leather jacket and just a t-shirt on. The other Doctor wears a bow tie and a fez, and the one in between has like a pinstripe suit and a long brown coat and a pair of Converse. So the costumes are quite varied and makes it certainly very very interesting. But the character itself holds some interest to me as well, which is always an important part. And you when you cosplay, you sort of have to be in the character as much as you can.
All right. Well, since you got to go, I want to go ahead and say thank you for coming on, and you are more than welcome to come back anytime. You know how to get a hold of me in every way, shape, and form. So if you ever want to come back on, make an announcement of any more of your events or anything, let me know, and we'll get you on.
Thank you. That's very kind. I'll take you up on that sometime.
It has been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
No, you're very welcome.
Dr. Stone says thanks for coming. Sorry he was late. Bunch of others say thank you for coming as well in chat. So, like I said, the viewers had a blast with you being here. But right now, I am going to do the roll the die to see who won the beta code. And what you're going to do to get this is, if you're in chat and your name comes up, I will PM it to you through the Twitch message, and I'll let you know when I sent it. So here we go. 5, 4. I think I got all the names there. Dr. Stone, Goddess 23, JS Viper.
No.
Okay, so who do I need to take out then?
Anybody who is an admin.
Okay, so DR Stone, he's an host, so is he allowed to get it?
No.
Okay. Goddess 23, I don't think she's not an admin. JS Viper.
Yeah, but she said earlier when you first mentioned it, she didn't want it.
Okay. JS Viper and Upset White Wolf. Either of those admins?
No.
Okay. So it's going to be between two people. Roll and die. JS Viper. Congratulations. I will message you here shortly the code, and I will also give you the link to the site to go put it in and sign up and all that fun stuff. Hopefully you enjoy it. With that being said, I think I'm going to actually change games and go get me something to drink, if you guys don't mind, because between talking and living in Florida where it is hot as balls, I'm actually sweating so bad my t-shirt's soaked. That's why I shut off my cam.
Ooh, thanks for the picture in my head. Yay.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not summer here anymore.
Okay, so any final questions for Mikesi before he goes?
How soon can I have you back on again? Oh, I do have one. Besides that, it has absolutely nothing to do. Well, it kind of has to do with what you. Anyhow, we're trying to get a cosplay calendar together for next month. Not next month, next year, so that we can raffle it off. Would you volunteer a picture?
A picture of, sorry?
Would you volunteer one of your pictures for a cosplay calendar for that we're trying to raffle off for next year's calendar?
Yes, yes, certainly. I would be more than happy to do that for you.
Thank you.
And in regards to your other question, I'm sure Tan and I can tee something up.
Yeah, if you don't notice, between me and Michael, Gwen, if there's anything that comes up and needs volunteers, usually they're like, "Are either of you guys available to stay?" Yes, okay, you're volunteered.
And there was one gaming question. Do you just game on the PC or do you game on anything else?
Yes. Mostly nowadays I am PC based. I've gamed on a PC pretty much since I had a computer. And back in the old days of Space Quest and King's Quest 2 and all those fun, very badly graphic games at the time. The last console I actually purchased was a PlayStation. Oh, actually a PS1, I'm sorry, the slimline PlayStation that came in about 2000, 2001. So I'm not so much on the console gaming. I do have friends who are very heavily into it, and I might have to pick some more of it up. But I'm mainly PC based nowadays.
Okay, so before you go, because I know this is going to be asked by someone in chat, what was the first game you played?
The very first game at all I played.
I guess video game. I should state video game, because otherwise you're gonna be like old D&D or.
No, actually, I was actually playing video games prior to playing Dungeons and Dragons. The very, very, very first game, I don't even remember the name of the console now, my parents had it when I was well, to be English, a wee tacker. Um, we had like I don't even know if I think it had only one cartridge for those of you who are old enough to remember what a game cartridge is, and it had multiple sports on it, including the classic Pong or a variation of Pong. It had like tennis and other sports on there, and that was one of the earliest. And basically, the controller was a wired controller into the console with a little joystick and a button, and that was it. There was no 10 buttons and a D-pad and all these other bits and pieces. That was my early actual exposure to gaming, but probably the first one I actually played was the old Sega Master System, things like Ghost House and Wonder Boy and things like that. Probably were the very first games I remember playing properly. And then, of course, I eventually, as I said, moved into PC games where, Space Quest and Star Trek: The 25th Anniversary and things like that. Those old games from like the mid '90s were around. So, yeah, I've gamed for quite a while. And of course, I've seen games get much graphically better over the years. I mean, even you look at the difference between Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. There's a lot of difference in the way the graphics are in those games and games like that. Gaming's always getting better and as it moves forward with technology, but it doesn't mean that the old games aren't still excellent. As I said, things like The Longest Journey is still an excellent game. I used to play things like the old Sim City, the very first one, things like that as well. So I've played a lot of games. I could talk about gaming for hours, but I'm sure we all have other things to do.
Well, speaking of old games, you would have laughed last night when we did our show. I was actually playing the old Oregon Trail from the Apple II computers, and I was streaming it. So,
Oh, gee. Oh my.
great game.
That is
Sorry,
that is a
graphics.
Yeah, well, probably. I mean, text-based adventure games. You have to type it, and it comes up in little green writing on the screen. When I was in primary school, gaming's come a long way since the '80s. So,
Yep. Well, again, thank you for coming on. You have a great day because I know it's morning time there.
it's just after 10:30. Thank you very much for having me, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
All right, and we will let you go. Do what you got to do. Feel free to hang up. We're going to continue the show for another 27 minutes. So I know you said you had to get going. So if you got to go, have a good one.
Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow, probably during our show changeovers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely then.
You guys have a fantastic rest of your program.
You too.
Have a great day and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, folks, I'm going to change game and get some drink here in a minute, but first I'm going to go ahead and message JS Viper. Again, congratulations on winning. Oops, I just clicked the wrong button. If you don't know how to check your message, it's going to be in the top right corner of your Twitch. I'm sending it now, so it'll probably take a couple minutes. Hopefully you enjoy this. No other Twitch channel is giving out beta keys for this game, so you're one of the first ones to get it. And I had to go through hell to get it, so hopefully you enjoy the game. Actually, no, this code here, I made Lady Rage go through hell to get it, so.
Yeah, he did. But I gave him hell back because I didn't understand a damn thing he told me. I'll be honest.
Alright, so I sent you the key and... Oh, I need to put in a subject. All you gotta do is go to the website that's there and sign up and put in the key that I gave you. It should say, once you gotta create an account, of course. Up top it'll say log in, create an account, and then it says register for beta, register, and then it says submit a key. Click submit a key, type in that I just sent to you, JS Viper, and you're good to go. Download it. The download and installation took me about an hour and 10 minutes. It is a very large game. It is in beta. There are several things in the game that are screwed up. Text and interactions with NPCs and stuff like that. But this is the very first closed beta event, so you can't expect a whole lot. It is fun, but I can't give you any more details. Otherwise, I'm risking breaking the NDA.
Can you name the game?
The name of the game, yeah, I can name it, and I can actually give the link to it. It's called Dragon's Prophet, and I'll go ahead and put the link to the game because you can sign up to get a beta code, but they are very few and far between, and only one beta code per IP address. So if you get a code, well, no, you can have more than one through the site there. But if you sign up through some of these other sites, MMO Bomb and all these other ones, they only give you one per IP address, and that's if you're lucky to win one. So let's see here. I am going to be right back. If you guys want to take over for a bit while something to drink.
No, it's not like you've been talking all night.
Yeah.
So Moab, what new game? Well, not new game, but different games than COD have you been doing lately?
Little games here and there.
Any particular name?
Mainly Terraria, which is the Xbox 360 edition. Terraria's been out for a while, but it just moved to the Xbox a couple months ago, I believe. I've been playing the heck out of that.
Anything new coming out in the gaming world that you know of?
Let's see. I have to check my notes.
Well, I know I've said it 1,000 times over. The Oya is coming out June 1st. It's only $99, and granted, it is for your phone, but it's a console that connects your phone to the TV so you can play your phone games on a bigger screen.
It doesn't. I don't think it connects your phone. I think you could just use your account through Android to re-download the games you already have on your phone. It's an Android gaming console.
Ugh. Okay, I am back.
And welcome back. And it has a controller to make it easier. And they're coming out with like RPG games and first-person shooter games for your Android phones now to go with it.
Let's just say the only game with any real significance that I am excited for is going to be The Last of Us, which is a PlayStation 3 only title coming out in June, mid-June, I think, the 14th or 17th, I believe.
I'm switching up games because Chivalry gets boring when no one's on. And to let everyone know, I am not going to have my webcam up the rest of the night because of how hot it is here. I'll just put it this way, I'm not wearing much.
Again, thanks for the picture.
Yay.
Oh, we're playing the same game. Go figure.
Probably gonna suck because I ain't gonna be paying attention. I'm gonna be reading chat mostly. So, real quick, how'd you guys, viewers and whatnot, how'd you guys enjoy having Mikesi on?
Well,
I sure enjoyed it a lot, so that's good. Because the reason I'm asking is because I'm actually going to try to get my hands on other people that are either in the same industry, do cosplay, and some of the people I know talk a lot more than Mike C does. So,
You want to tell them who's coming on next week, Saturday?
Oh yes, before I forget. As I'm in a match, but I don't care. Screw it. Let's see. Her name is Caitlin Englin. Maybe England. I don't know how she pronounces it. She does fairy sculptures and photography, and her work is amazing. She's been listed in several, several newspapers, magazines, galleries. She's been awarded a bunch, and when I say a bunch, there's at least 20 listings on her page. So I enjoy her work. I've seen her work been watching her for the past 6 months now, but she's been around longer than that. And she is actually another person from overseas. How I keep finding people that are not from America, I have no clue. She's from exactly, one sec. I had it pulled up here.
Dr. Stone, I showed him her work, and he said that it's very nice work. Him and Queenie both liked it.
She's from Brussels. So, yeah.
Oh, the sprout.
And real quick, I want to give a thank you to Orange Card and Brandon Unborn Assassin. Thank you guys for following our Twitch page. If you guys got any friends or anything, tell them to follow. The party's no longer active. Okay. So real quick, I'm going to show you guys some of the work she's done.
And you had one more shout out, right?
No? Am I supposed to?
Yes. Somebody showed us today where they were doing their fundraising.
Yeah, I already gave that a shout, but I'll give it again. MarathonGamers.org. They're doing a charity event as we speak. It's been going on all day. It's going to continue going on for American Cancer Society. So after the show, head on over there, check them out. They're playing random games. You can get their game list and get prizes for donating and all that. So make sure you check them out after our show. Galleries. I'm going to just show real quick some galleries or some images of her work. Here's one of her fairies. And this is like all handcrafted sculptures.
And when you're done with that, I have another show announcement for next week that I want to announce.
Go ahead and announce it.
Next week we have another male cosplay model coming on. His fan page name is Night Mage. I'm going to post the link for you guys. Lady Venom actually found him for me. He has really cool stuff that he does. So check out his page, like it, and tune in next week Friday. Same time.
Now the show. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. He's the newest superhero on the block. It's what his page says. This page is dedicated to bringing you his adventure along with featuring visuals from his friends. Again, it's Night Mage.
We've lost the advantage.
Go ahead.
Now the show that we're doing with Kathleen won't be our normal time. So you'll have to keep an ear out for when we go to do that show because of the time zone differences and stuff. I think we're doing it earlier in the day, right? believe so.
Hostile UAV
I think that,
above.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what you said.
I'll have to look through the emails again to just double check. Because otherwise, if we did it at our normal time, it would be like, I think it would be 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. her time. And we wanted to make sure she got plenty of sleep and all that fun stuff. We take care of our guests, or at least try to.
Hostile lightning strike inbound.
So, trying to think, anything else you want to talk about, Lay Rage?
What new games have any of the Netcast listeners? Have you guys been playing any new games? Who's getting tired of Black Ops 2?
I just shot up my own guy because I was blinded and I didn't see his name tag. Um, Speaking of new games, while we're waiting on them to reply, good just a reminder that I did put a post on our Facebook page. It's a poll to ask you guys what game you want us to play. Coming in, the poll ends June 3rd is what I said down there, I think, or June 4th, something like that. And I put a bunch of new games that are going to be out either a couple days before then or out on the 4th. And what I'm going to try to do is get those games for you guys. So make sure you head over there, check the poll out. I ain't got a direct link to the poll, but I'll get you one. That way you guys can vote, and we'll see
I'll
which
get it.
game wins. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And next week, Friday, we will be giving away a prize as well with the guests. And I'm quite sure on Saturday we can give away another one.
Yeah, we can give away prizes galore, I think.
Moab,
Wait, what?
do you have anything to add?
No, not really. I just got blown up by a bunch of mines.
That dude just took us both out with one shot. What the f...
There's the link.
Be advised, hostile
Go
UAV
answer his
incoming.
questions, and hopefully by the 3rd we'll get it in. And hopefully it'll be something that all of us can play together so that you can watch all of us make fools out of ourselves while he's streaming.
Well, I think there's one or two of the new games that are, like, the most anticipated, but they're one players, so I just went ahead and put them in there anyways. Because I'm actually looking forward to 2 of them. But I know there's a couple of them are multiplayer and a couple of them are free to play. Others are expensive. In fact, I'll go ahead and, I don't care if I die, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and read off the games I have in there.
Oh, I was going to do that for you. I already pulled it up. Do you want to do it, or do you want
I
to?
can do it. I don't care if I die.
Alright.
Right now I have Remember Me, Call of... I want to say Juarez, Gunslinger, which is...
It's Juarez.
Whatever. It's J. Juarez. Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, and Marvel Heroes, and Other. So if you got another one that you want us to play, and you choose Other, please put in a comment on what game you want us to play.
We're losing this fight.
You'll get a JS Viper. You're gonna get an email, and in the email is the download. They are very strict on how they're gonna give it away. You're gonna get an email to the address you signed up. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna get the download, installation, and patch. And They shooting at me. How do you know that grenade was there? I killed him. I killed him.
So, what's everybody's take on, well, not take, but how many people are actually looking forward to E3 next month? It's June 10th.
I am.
You know, we are actually having an interview at E3 of a person that's going to be there. He's a friend of mine.
Well, see, you guys are all looking forward to it for the Xbox announcement and this thing. I'm looking forward to the PC game announcements.
Well, you know,
I'm looking forward to all game announcements considering I have every console.
Well, see, yeah, you say that now, but you know you can't play any of the PC games that are coming out.
I can get excited for them. Doesn't stop me from that.
And seeing how somebody got me into the PC gaming, thank you. I am kind of looking forward to some new ones coming out. Well, finding out what's coming out. And the guests that we're having on June 10th, and that would be, I think it's going to be an early show, 8 o'clock, I do believe. I got to double check with him. His name is Recon Spec Ops. And he got a personal invitation because, you know, you can only get the E3 now on invites only. So that's how he got there. And he is, he owns his own company. He is the CEO and owner at High Def Sounds and Image out of Chicago. It's a HD, yeah, HD TV audio wiring and video game setup, smart home security system setup, satellite cable, and Wi-Fi hotspots. Installations for home, office, business, LED, LCD plasmas, and wall speakers setups.
Okay, and before I forget, because I forgot to do it while Mikesi was on, and if you want to know more about the wai-con, there's the website for it. I forgot to put it in the chat earlier. Sorry. For any of you guys in Australia or going to Australia or just want more information about it, that's the link. It's still showing this year's because this year's was just a month or two ago, I think. And we got 5 minutes left in the show.
And I'm not sure what day it is. She has to get back to me. But either Monday or Tuesday, we're going to have yet another cosplay model come on. Her name is Sadie Gracie. She just did Catwoman or Batgirl? Batgirl?
I think it was Batgirl.
Huh?
I think it was Batgirl.
Yeah, Batgirl. Okay. And Spider-Girl or Spider-Woman, the female version of Spider-Man. How's that one? And I am going to put the link in there as soon as I can find her. Okay, found her. She's also a regular model as on top of doing cosplay.
Oh, I was gonna say, good thing you said of doing cosplay because it was sounding so dirty there for a moment.
Yeah. I'm old. I don't do dirty.
I'm young, I do. Even though I feel like I'm 90. Why? Oh, I fucking hit the freaking chat key. Why in the freak? I'm like, why in the hell ain't I doing anything?
UAV incoming.
And there's her page. She's a very, very beautiful girl. Go and check her out. No, Piper, sweetie, you didn't hear nothing. We're good people.
I heard everything.
We as good as they come.
Yeah.
Some of us are, anyways.
And Dr. Stone, how are you good at making a fool out of yourself? I had to ask. You put it up there.
Sweet, landed right on
Be
it.
advised, hostile UAV incoming.
Alright, alright guys. I'm going to go ahead and play the outro song. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. Actually I'm going to leave the game so that way you guys don't hear the game sound over top of Sky Blues. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And make sure you hit that follow button if you didn't. I'm going to mute Skype now. Oh wait, no. You guys say your goodbyes and I'll mute Skype. How about that?
That would be nice.
Sorry, I'm so freaking sticky and sweaty right now. I'm not even thinking.
Again, with the pictures. Thank you.
I enjoy that picture, not gonna lie.
No comment.
Yeah.
I wanted to make time feel as awkward as possible. I think I succeeded in that.
Apparently, Goddess says that she did. When I'm
Oh,
taking-
yay. Now I got another stalker. On top of Moab.
Hey, you brought it on yourself, yo.
Anyway, thanks everybody for listening to the show. We really do appreciate it. Tyne did wonderful today. Thanks to our guest. Of course, they're good friends, so of course they can talk for hours and hours on end. Don't forget to hit that follow button if you liked what you heard or what you saw. We'll be streaming games constantly as we do our interviews or our talks. So, have any questions, feel free to like Team Raid Show on Facebook and ask questions or ideas for future shows, or if you think you're good enough to be on the show, which most people are. We're pretty generous for who we let on the show. Like, everyone's special in their own way, and we know that. So we try to get people that like want to get involved. Let them get involved.
I'm special.
So yeah, thanks y'all for listening, Lady Rage.
Also, we have a YouTube channel that Moab was sweet enough to create for us. It's Team Rage 23. Our shows here delete after about a week or so time, so we've been uploading them to YouTube. So if you miss it and you want to review it, check us out on YouTube. And a lot of times Moab will go live streaming on YouTube.
Yep. Try to do it 2 hours a day, because that's all YouTube will let you do daily until you get more views or more subscribers on YouTube, and then they'll up it. Or I think you got to become a partner, actually, in YouTube to do nonstop streaming. So that's my goal. I want to do streaming on YouTube.
Thank you, Piper. And good night, everybody. This is Lady Rage for Team Rage.
Ricey K, the Raisin Man.
What? Game over. Game over. This life is a pitfall. You either make it over or get tossed into the abyss. Life is a so don't miss the opportunity to make a difference while you here. Ain't no extra lies when you die, cause death interferes with your plans. The sands of time don't even show up. Hold up, don't lose it, better land mines before you blow up. You know what? I question these blocks like what's inside of it. Lives being lost in this world, and a lot of it got to do with your mindset. When you gonna start to select the right settings, the controllers in your heart. I'm trying to spark confidence, it ain't about prominence. Bleeding over colors, capture the flag for dominance. Duty stars calling in the form of a halo, telling fables of angels and cheating death can enable a glitch. So you can can try to crack the code if you like, but when that clock strikes 0, that's the end of your life. So game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Game over. Ain't no extra lives when you die, just game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Don't you run out of time, or game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Game
Ain't no extra lives when you die, just game over.
Grab the coins, we got money to get. Achievement unlocked, I need 100%. They say this is a wonderful feeling, so I gotta put it down. So every single one is convinced, thought we was one up, preparing to live a long life. That my homie lost his life for hitting the wrong pipe. I kinda find it retarded though, how these weak rappers stay lying in articles. I peep the whole picture like they dealing in particles. Now I'm the glitch, like Vanilla be a small fiery Mario. Even stars don't stay alive, I stay ahead of my time like 1080i and 85. Ain't no resets, extra life, we all walking the same path, left to right, and everyone feel tension like a first-person shooter. Remember that Brand's got an Unreal Engine. They say that life's a game, indefinite. You gotta take the cards you dealt, you can't change them in the preferences. Been through a bit on the sticks, now you face 2 options, continue or quit. Too bad the moment of clarity ain't before the hangover. Maybe it wouldn't be game over.
Game over, 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 over.
Yep, Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, no. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, no.
And I'ma let my story unfold. Side scroll, how many lives am I on? I'm no feline, so people shouting YOLO. What they gon' go, what they don't know. Living la vida, loco, out of control. Calling the reaper, now they wanna unplug. Say they done, try to back up, but the cartridge stuck. Wanna give up, but the thoughts too much. Lost their lunch, done tossed it up, and I'm walking out cause I saw enough. And they wonder why the boss is tough. They not ready, they lost in the pitfall. Jungle, no machete. Hey, and the snakes in the grass already. Yeah, they already. Don't you forget it. When the music gets sad, don't sweat it. Cut another record, reach it to the highest level. Hey, let it be known, achievements last forever. So I'ma live forever because I never settle. Just celebrate life.
Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, no. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, never knowing it's your time to go. Game over, no.